G'day! I am not happy. I am not happy at all. I want to bring your attention to this case. Law and order in Australia is completely messed up. Hit and run driver who sent racist messages retains license despite fatal crash. 26-year-old hit and run driver who fled the scene of a crash that killed an Aboriginal man and later sent racial messages describing the incidents as 2-for-1 combo and referring to victims as N-words and dogs, retained his driver's license. Last year, he was sentenced to 12-month community corrections order, including 5 months of home detention, after pleading guilty to hit and run driving causing death. The sentence sparked widespread criticism and was appealed by the Territory's Director of Public Prosecutions, who described the penalty as manifestly inadequate. He struck 2 Aboriginal men near a shopping centre in Darwin in June 2024 before fleeing the scene. One victim was thrown 7 meters and suffered traumatic brain injury. He later died in Darwin Hospital. The second man, aged 37, survived with non-life-threatening injuries. And don't forget, non-life-threatening injuries doesn't mean you just walk away. You can be in pain or crippled for life. Last month, Northern Territory Court of Criminal Appeal extended Dem's intensive corrections order to 2 years to be served entirely in home detention. He must also wear an electronic monitoring bracelet. Oh, so okay, so he gets to stay home for 2 years. He was facing separate charges for speeding and driving unlicensed and unregistered vehicle. He pled guilty to those offences in Darwin local court on Thursday. The court heard he struck him at 79 kilometres an hour, 19 k's above the speed limit, before leaving the scene and failing to call 000. Court documents also reveal racist texts Danby sent after the crash. He boasted he would avoid jail because of his surname, and called the victims N-words, dumb C's, and beaches. Maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to claim his Centrelink for taking out another oxygen thief. I mean, how sick and twisted does a person have to be? This man should have the book thrown at him. This is completely unacceptable. What is wrong with this country? He was not charged for causing the collision itself, but rather for leaving the scene, described by his lawyer as his cowardice. You'd think a coward would be hiding, upset, not brag. His defense argued losing his license would affect his employment as a construction worker. I bet the guy who died lost his employment and everything else, and everyone else who was close to him. Judge Therese Austin fined him $2,068 for the traffic incident offences, but declined the Crown prosecutor's request to disqualify his licence. So he keeps his licence after driving, maiming one and killing another. She noted the offence does not carry a mandatory licence suspension, and she said she was surprised the matter had not been addressed in the Supreme Court. My view is that you are somebody who needs to be able to consider work opportunities in your future while serving your sentence. And it's also the case that I don't have to suspend you because there's no mandatory requirement, Judge Austin said, as reported by the ABC. This is ridiculous. This person using that license killed a person. They took someone's life. They showed no remorse. They ran. Maybe they were driving illegally, speeding at the time. Maybe you can sort of forgive someone for running out of fear, but the comments afterwards show a complete lack of remorse, in my opinion. There's nothing suggests to me, and there's no evidence, in fact, the contrary, that your driving is what caused the collision. No evidence while driving 19 kilometers over the speed limit. What is wrong with this judge? The case prompted public anger over what critics described as lenient sentence, particularly when compared with penalties often imposed on Aboriginal people in Northern Territory, when the governor has promoted a tough-on-crime approach. His sister, the sister of the victim, spoke about the impact of that decision. Those words Danby said still hurt us. Punishment is rubbish and doesn't feel good. I'd say doesn't feel good is an understatement. I'm strong, but I get upset when I was told the sentence. It's not fair. He's still out there. There is no justice. I'm the person who needs to keep fighting for my brother. We all need to fight. In the appeal ruling, Chief Justice Michael Grant noted the charge Danby faced did not involve criminal liability for causing Mr. Whitehurst's death, meaning there was no opportunity for the formation of a racist motive for the collision. He said the racist measures could only be considered when assessing Danby's prospects for rehabilitation and criticised aspects of media reporting about the case. Northern Territory figures called for the matter to be taken further. Chief Minister and Attorney General Paul Evans said he was appalled that Supreme Court has set the price of life to 2 years home detention. I am outraged too. He said Danby's comments aggravate the circumstance of this offence well beyond the norm, warranting a much harsher message that you can't do and say this sort of frankly vile behavior and get a smack on the wrist. If I were still the Northern Territory Attorney General and it were possible to do so, I would seek leave to appeal the sentence to the High Court, he wrote. This is insane. This is completely unacceptable. What is wrong with this country where we let criminals off lightly even after taking and destroying people's lives?
A former school principal and father from the Mornington Peninsula has just been jailed in the county court after being caught possessing child abuse material.
A school principal with these sorts of materials. We have to have thrown the book at them. They're not going to see the light of day for years, I am sure.
It'll be 3 months in prison for Richard Barron, his own counsel describing his offending as abhorrent and vile.
3 months in prison. This country, what is wrong with our government and our justice system?
The 50-year-old is convicted of possessing 2 child abuse videos of girls as young as 10, which are too violent and graphic to describe.
The sentencing that he's received, I don't feel it's good enough.
There's kids traumatised from even them knowing that he was watching them in the bathrooms and the change room. He was always in there inappropriately. School leadership knew about it, was reported to them, was even reported to the education department, and it all just got wiped. So this has been going on for years, his inappropriate behaviour.
He's also guilty of using the dating app Grindr to discuss imagined sexual desires and acts with other users. All his offending took place during 2023 and 2024 while he was principal of Langwarrin Park Primary School in Melbourne's southeast. We'll have the full story.
I am disgusted. 3 months. 3 months for that sort of material. For in school, walking into change rooms or other things. There'd been reports to the school, there'd been reports to the education department, they say, if I recall correctly. And they did nothing, it seems. And he ends up with 3 months. A slap on the wrist. It's nothing. Let's go on the next one. Kim Kellett sentenced for manslaughter over fatal shooting near Catherine Kura Caves. Okay. A man who fatally shot 26-year-old home intruder near Catherine has been handed a sentence of 4 years and 10 months, but will serve just under 2 years behind bars for the offence. Okay, so this guy shot a home intruder. Kim Kellett, 39, was awoken by his wife's screams at 4 a.m. when a man entered their home through an unlocked front door. So we've got a home invader here. He was initially chased off, and then the intruder came back. Mr. Kellett fired one shot down the driveway, which struck and killed the man. The alleged intruder was a resident of a nearby alcohol rehabilitation center. In this sentencing remarks, Justice John Burns said Kellett's decision to fire a shot was reckless and presented a danger of serious harm or death, but also accepted Kellett leaving his home was not an unreasonable action. I should add, whilst remaining inside the house may have been the wisest course, it did not guarantee your safety or that of your family, he said. You were not to know whether the deceased was alone or in company, whether he had access to weapons or what he was intending to do. And you still give him that much time in prison. Kellett was originally charged with murder but pleaded guilty to the reduced charge of manslaughter for defending your family against a home invader. Justice John Burns says that the 4-year and 10-month sentence will be suspended from January 2024. When the man returned after initially being chased off, Kellett's wife called the police at 4:08 a.m. and mentioned to the operators she had her gun. During the 8-minute phone call, her husband warned the operator, "Hurry up, mate, because he's gonna get shot. My kids are here." This home invader breaking into his home where his kids are, his wife screaming, gets chased off, comes back. I mean, it's a nightmare. I couldn't imagine. The Northern Supreme Court heard Kellett again left his house with a rifle after hearing the noises around his property. Kellett, armed with a .308 rifle, fired down his front drive towards the direction he heard the noise. The shot hit the man in the chest. Sounds fair to me. After police arrived, Kellett told officers he had only just fired a warning shot. The 26-year-old man was pronounced dead at 5 a.m. So this is in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, you have a home invader coming in. You've got kids there, your wife, and now you're going to prison for trying to defend them. Prosecution argued shots were not about safety concerns. In his earlier submissions, Crown Prosecutor Marty Ost argued Kellett was not motivated out of concern for safety of his family, but out of anger that the deceased invaded his residence. Marty Ost you need to be removed. Justice Burns rejected that argument, saying there was no evidence to support it. He found that Keller had a reasonable fear given the man entered his property in the middle of the night dressed only in boxer shorts. It gets worse. It just gets worse. Okay, a man in boxer shorts invades your home in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., scares your wife, your children are there, you chase him away, and he comes back. You end up shooting him, and you end up going to prison, where a school principal with child abuse materials gets 3 months. There is no justice. We need to remove this government. We need to vote them out. We need to prepare early. We need to redefine this justice system, and we need to make things fair. This is all ridiculous, and we cannot be complicit to such injustices anymore. Links are in the description. If you want to support us, like, subscribe, and comment below. All interactivity with our channel helps. Thanks.